Lumen Christi is unique in its model as an institute primarily oriented around the intellectual life.
Having attended many lectures and 2 conferences and 2 summer seminars, I would say that all of Lumen Christi's programming, but especially the summer seminars, have contributed to my growth as a scholar.
And actually, for me, it was an important part of choosing to come here because I was looking at very similar schools and I did the pros and cons list and they were almost equal. But the fact that there would be a strong Christian intellectual community that I'd be able to get involved with here at Chicago was something that was very important to me.
It offers a forum in which people just who are like-minded can come together and know that, hey, I'm not the only one who thinks this. I'm not the only one who thinks that the 2,000 years of Catholic tradition has something to offer.
The first time I came here was in the context of bringing a scholar from a different university to Notre Dame. So what I noticed was, first, the whole idea of seminars of these kinds were very important for just growing knowledge and knowing more about the Catholic tradition. But also I realized that there was a lot of chance for networking and trying to bring scholars from different places, which Institute does so well.
Lumen Christi Institute has been incredibly effective at promoting a Catholic culture on a secular campus. And for me, the way that Lumen Christi has really done that is it's really allowed me to have friendships with students, at the other Catholic and Christian students at the university.
It's an institute devoted to Catholic teaching, so once you're influencing the way somebody thinks, you impact the way they live.
The Lumen Christi Institute does an excellent job of organizing the content of their programming around live points of contact between the Catholic intellectual tradition on the one hand and contemporary secular thought on the other.
I think some of the best discussions I've had occur in those times before and after the lectures, where you're sort of inspired about the topic beforehand and curious about what's going to be said, or afterwards sort of thinking through it.
One of the best parts of Lumen Christi is that we come in contact with excellent scholars who are able to directly advise us. So when I run into a problem, I can call Russ Hittinger and I can say, what can I use to address this problem?
Yeah, and I mean, being able to ask Remy Bragg about his own book, a lot of times in school we debate the meaning of texts that authors write, and you can bash your head against that wall for hours, or you can just ask the man. And Lumen Christi is the only place I've been able to actually engage with a scholar about their own work.
And speaking for myself, I can say that I've kept in touch with several of the scholars that the Lumen Christi Institute has invited to speak. And one of them has actually been generous enough to offer extensive written feedback. So I've certainly benefited greatly just from the opportunity to meet some of these scholars.
I think I've been inspired by the master classes in particular because they target a slightly more graduate crowd and the level.
I think my first event was a lecture, Dana Joya's poetry, and just encountering him and his poetry and his example as a Catholic poet, and the struggle between just being a human and our original sin, our fallen nature.
And the first event I went to was Mary Ann Glendon's lecture on politics as vocation. And I think that was the first quarter I was here. And it was just a perfect event to start out my graduate studies. And I think it really motivated me to think about how can I study things that will actually have an impact on the real world.
Lumen Christi is a constant source of enrichment, be that for Catholic students, a better understanding of their faith, or for non-Catholic students, an encounter with cultures that they're unfamiliar with.
And so we come from very different backgrounds, but we all are sort of brought together by this desire to sort of understand our Christian faith at a more intellectual level. And that's just such a great foundation for friendship. So I've really, I think for me, it's allowed me to have a much richer life as a student on campus because of that foundation.